Habermas' The Future of Human Nature delves into the ethical and philosophical challenges posed by advancements in biotechnology, particularly genetic engineering, and their implications for human autonomy, identity, and the moral foundations of society. In this work, Habermas grapples with the possibilities and dangers presented by the ability to alter human genetics, questioning what this means for our understanding of human nature and moral agency. At the heart of Habermas' argument is the concern that biotechnological interventions, particularly those applied before birth, could undermine the autonomy and moral integrity of future individuals. He distinguishes between therapeutic interventions, which aim to cure genetic diseases, and enhancement technologies, which attempt to improve individuals by modifying traits unrelated to health. Habermas argues that genetic enhancement crosses an ethical boundary by interfering with the natural conditions under which a person develops and forms their identity. Genetic interventions carried out by others, such as parents, potentially predefine the life choices of the individual, compromising their ability to view themselves as autonomous agents with self-determined futures. A key philosophical concern in The Future of Human Nature is the issue of autonomy, a central concept in Habermas' broader ethical theory. Autonomy, for Habermas, is the capacity of individuals to govern their lives based on self-chosen principles. In the context of genetic engineering, he argues that altering an individual's genetic makeup before they are born could interfere with this self-governance. Since these interventions are made by others, and not by the person themselves, the resulting individual might feel that their life is shaped by choices that were not their own, thus undermining their sense of agency. Habermas places significant emphasis on the moral status of human dignity in the face of technological advancements. He argues that the dignity of individuals is tied to their ability to act as free and equal moral agents. When genetic engineering is used to enhance specific traits, the line between nature and choice becomes blurred, and the natural lottery of birth is replaced by human design. This raises troubling questions about the equality of persons, as individuals whose genetic makeup has been intentionally designed by others may feel inferior to or different from those whose traits were not selected in advance. Habermas warns that such developments could lead to a form of social stratification, where genetically enhanced individuals and those with natural genetic traits exist in separate moral and social categories. The notion of moral freedom is central to Habermas' critique. He argues that moral freedom requires individuals to be able to conceive of their lives as self-directed and not the result of external manipulation. In a world where genetic manipulation becomes commonplace, individuals may come to see themselves as products of design, rather than free agents capable of shaping their own futures. This could undermine the sense of responsibility people have for their actions, as they may attribute certain characteristics or tendencies to the genetic choices made by their parents or society, rather than to their own decisions. Habermas also addresses the implications of genetic engineering for the concept of the species ethic. He suggests that humanity shares a common understanding of human nature, which forms the basis for ethical deliberation and moral solidarity. This shared nature allows humans to relate to one another as equals, recognizing the intrinsic worth and dignity of each person. However, the ability to genetically engineer future generations threatens to disrupt this shared understanding, potentially creating a situation where some individuals are seen as superior or inferior based on their genetic traits. Habermas argues that this would undermine the ethical foundations of human society, eroding the sense of solidarity that underpins moral relationships. One of the most provocative aspects of Habermas's argument is his concern about the instrumentalization of human life. He worries that genetic engineering could lead to a commodification of human traits, where parents or society select traits based on preferences or market demands, treating human beings as objects to be shaped according to external desires. This instrumental view of human life, where individuals are valued for specific traits rather than for their intrinsic worth, could erode the moral fabric of society and diminish the respect for human dignity that underpins modern moral systems. In exploring the ethical implications of genetic engineering, Habermas draws on his theory of communicative action, which emphasizes the importance of dialogue and mutual understanding in ethical decision making. He argues that ethical questions surrounding genetic manipulation must be addressed through democratic deliberation, where individuals engage in open dialogue to reach consensus on the moral boundaries of biotechnological intervention. This process of communicative rationality is crucial for ensuring that decisions about the future of human nature are made collectively and reflect shared moral values. Habermas's critique of genetic engineering also touches on the relationship between nature and culture. He argues that human beings have always navigated the tension between their biological nature and cultural values, but genetic engineering threatens to collapse this distinction. By directly intervening in the genetic foundations of life, society risks erasing the boundary between the given and the chosen, transforming human nature into a malleable product of technological manipulation. Habermas is concerned that this shift could lead to a dehumanizing view of individuals as mere products of design, rather than as autonomous beings with inherent dignity. In response to these ethical challenges, Habermas calls for a cautious approach to genetic engineering, advocating for limits on its application, especially in non-therapeutic contexts. He acknowledges that biotechnology holds great potential for alleviating suffering and improving health, but he insists that these technologies must be used in ways that respect human dignity and preserve the autonomy of future individuals. This means avoiding genetic interventions that could predefine a person's identity or reduce them to a product of design, rather than a subject of moral freedom. A central theme in the future of human nature is the idea of intergenerational responsibility. Habermas argues that decisions made about genetic engineering today will have profound consequences for future generations, who will have to live with the results of these interventions. He stresses the importance of considering the rights and interests of future persons in ethical deliberations, emphasizing that they should not be deprived of the opportunity to shape their own identities and lives. This forward-looking perspective highlights the moral weight of decisions about genetic engineering, which have the potential to reshape not only individual lives, but also the moral landscape of human society. Habermas' analysis of biotechnology is also informed by his broader critique of modernity and rationality. He warns that the drive to control and manipulate nature, including human nature, reflects a broader tendency in modern society to instrumentalize the world for human purposes. This instrumental rationality, which values efficiency and control over ethical considerations, risks undermining the very foundations of moral and social life. Habermas calls for a more reflective and ethical approach to biotechnology, one that recognizes the limits of human control and respects the autonomy and dignity of all individuals.